Well, what is up, guys? Today we're going to do a what if on what if Light Yagami gained a geass. Now, this is a good what if, and I'm going to do an alternative ending to this. You see, now that What If Universe has done one, you should go and check out his video about the what if scenario, but this time I'm going to make some changes to this what if and give it a completely alternative ending. And with that out of the way, let's get on to the video. We begin our story with C2 trying to find someone with some ideals of justice, really and just in general. So she runs across Light, she studies him for weeks, and then she meets him, and while he's walking home from school, she grants him a geass, the same geass as Lelouch, since Lelouch is kind of inspired by Light a little bit, but not completely, just a little bit, and by appearance also, and some aspects. I just want to let you know that. So when Light gets his geass, he doesn't know that it could work until Light actually tests it and actually goes, I, Light Yagami, command you police officers to kill criminals. Yes, he uses his geass to get the cops to kill criminals, performing vigilante justice on them. He goes up to 4 prisons and kills about 400 people, well, technically 400 criminals. He tells them to kill the most truly evil ones and none who are false convicted or just innocent in prison. So Light isn't that guilty. And of course, after talk about the Lindell Taylor thing, you see, L narrows down that it's gotta be in Japan. So he forms Lindell Taylor thing and realizes that Kira can only kill when he's around, or just use the superpower. So yeah, geass is a notable thing, of course. Then we move on to Light being followed by Ray Penber. You see, Light still needs eye contacts when his geass overwhelms him and becomes like a geass that can't be turned off. Like how this is what happened to Lelouch, and it'll happen to him soon. So, Light geasses Ray to report nothing happened and to pretend that he didn't see him. So he reports in that there's nothing to see it, and this is good because he doesn't get to kill Naomi, which is alright. But of course it's a disappointment since he could have actually used Ray for so much more. But of course, L still manages to detest that Light is Kira, so he decides to investigate Ray's suspects, because Ray came with blank information, and of course L deduces that Kira can control people, yes, but he has to have direct eye contact. So of course he has the files that Ray had about the suspects that Ray was following, like the deputy directors and Light's household. So of course he places cameras, nothing happens, still plays out the same, and then of course he eventually meets Light. He welcomes him on the task force. You see, there's gonna be Misa, since you see C2 grants her a geass. When C2's walking home, she sees a girl who is being mugged. And then of course, C2 knocks the guy out, and then of course grants Misa a geass, which of course she's grateful to, since she loves Kira, especially his right-hand woman. And especially, she gets the same geass as Light, technically using her geass on the police officers to murder criminals who aren't falsely accused and just typically evil. And of course she eventually meets Light, just like how she does in the anime. C2 just straight up tells that Misa is the second Kira to Light, and she of course invites Misa over to Light's house and about how they should kill L. By the way, when Light's in college, technically when he's with L, Misa also meets L, and of course, at first, she did not know it was him because he was using the alias of Hideki Ryuga. He starts to suspect that she is the second Kira, but I don't think the tape scenes happen because Light tells her not to do so. So it's just Light and C2 and Misa who are on the Kira task force. But truly, the Elseworld group does not happen since Light does not erase his memories like he does in the original anime. So, where does this leave off to? So now, she starts to slowly distrust Light and Misa. And of course, C2 decides to slowly trust L, but she doesn't trust him completely because she thinks that he could complete her contract, but I don't think she would agree with him that much. So she tells L about the power of geass, but she doesn't grant him one. And of course L deduces that she can't use geass the same way Light deduces that she can't use geass. So I don't think that she could just give him a geass because she doesn't trust him even after talking to him and talking about geass. So L decides to blackmail C2 into revealing that Light and Misa are Kira to catch them quite easily. And he actually succeeds with manipulating C2 tricking C2 into revealing that Light is Kira. So now that Light is being chased by the police, his father tries to defend him by letting him escape. So him and of course C2 and Misa go to C's world. Now Light is now in C's world with C2 and Misa, and they're going to complete their contract until Light finds out that C2 just wants to die, but of course C2 can tell that Light just doesn't want to do this. However, L shows up wearing a mask, telling C2 that I just committed these crimes to go to the extreme just to put Kira to justice. And the same goes for Light, since he went to the extreme to put L to justice, since L committed all those crimes as well and has selfish intent occasionally. But of course before that happens, although it does happen, but before C2 could either change her mind between the two of them, Charles and V2 shows up out of nowhere. Now Charles asks C2 that he can actually get a contract done, since he also has a geass that's powerful enough to kill a code user. And of course V2 decides to give L a geass, or maybe not, but let's just assume that he doesn't in time. And of course he takes V2's code already, and of course he was going to take C2's code anyway, so he has both codes. And of course Light and Misa get inside this ship just the mecha that they're in, the ones that are in the anime. So Light tries to confront C2, not to kill yourself, please don't, you are such a good friend, there's more to life. That's what he tells her, and then of course she actually double crosses Charles eventually, and of course Light falls with C2 and Misa, so they get back to Earth, and then of course in a couple weeks they go back to C's world because C2 lost her memories. And then of course when she regains them, they go back to C's world and Charles is still there. And let's just make the Ragnarok connection happen a little early. And then eventually Light's geass starts going around his second eye or his right eye. And then of course he uses his geass to fuck up C's world, and then of course Charles in a rage charges at Light's neck. Of course Light inherits Charles's code like Lelouch does, and Light with a second thought, without a second thought says, "Be gone now," dramatically, and of course Charles is just withered from existence, which was really nice and well done. Now that Light has Charles's code, I suggest that Light fakes his death without being Emperor, and of course he might potentially kill L, of course, and of course he stops being Kira, even though yes, he has his ideals, but now he wants to achieve his ideals a different way. So he goes into hiding with C2 and potentially Misa, but Misa can be alright with all of this because Misa will also get some character development for this as well. Like suggest, I would have liked more character development for Misa, like say I was not obsessing over Light that much, like Karen from Naruto Shippuden, like how Sakura obsesses over Sasuke. Yeah, I wasn't really a fan of that, but of course, I'm just gonna end the what if here, since now that Light has become L2, And of course, he's also gotten rid of L, of course, which is really nice, although you can debate about that, but it's good for him. But now he has to hunt down the remaining members of the geass order with C2. And as always, thanks for watching, subscribe, share, like, and comment. And before I go, I just want to mention Lelouch doesn't have to experience his mother's death, and not only doesn't have to be crippled or blind. And of course, Lelouch becomes emperor. Light also mentors Lelouch at some point. And of course, I also have to say, Lelouch secretly was inspired by Light in this world, like say, oh, I like you, Kira, and stuff like that. I'm just getting into what if here. And as always, thanks for watching. Subscribe, share, like, and comment.